Alright guys, welcome to a very new video. I say very new. This is my first ever actual proper video that is not a clip on this channel. I'm going to be teaching you guys how to tune for this new and up and coming comp that NTNS is going to be hosting. I'll be sure to leave a link to his stream in the description and a link to his channel as well. So there are three specific criterias for this comp that you must adhere to, which is the rim size being 19s, the tire widths being 245s, and 35% profile. And then as you can see, the weight of the car is 1,528 kilograms. You want to times that by 0.55, and then that is going to be your horsepower. For example, for this car, the weight being 1,528, you'll be getting 840 horsepower out of this car. Now, I'm going to be teaching you specifically on this car. There's other cars that I can teach you on as well, but this is just a car that I just kind of thought of. It's very unique. It's not an S chassis. It's not a BMW. Well, oh, it's not a BMW. It's an E92. But at the end of the day, it's not like the E36, E46, the M5. This is an M3 E92, long wheelbase. It'll help you out a lot. It'll make it very stable. Um, but I'm gonna be going through the process of what I would do when I tuned cars like this, and um, hopefully you guys can learn a thing or two, apply it to your cars, or you can copy this tune. I will be publishing this tune as soon as this video goes live, so you guys can be running this tune for this comp if you wish to, or if you prefer the your way of tuning, then you can just do that. But I will be teaching you guys how to pretty much tune for like a comp that is like this, which is pretty much just a street tune. So we don't touch these to begin with, but we're going to be touching these here to begin with. So the spring stiffnesses and stuff like that, it kind of comes down to the car's weight, because you don't want the car to have that much of a body roll, right? So you kind of want it to be stable as much as you can, and you don't ever want to touch these after. You want to keep these as soon as you've set them. So, for example, I want to put the fronts here at like 125 between 130. So I'm gonna do like a 127, right? And then actually, sorry, this is my fault here. You'd actually want to run these higher. You run these at like anywhere from 150 to 155. So I'm gonna pick like 150. 153 should be all right. And this should be 127, right? All right, so for the fast bumps and fast rebounds, to kind of get in a little bit technical with it, uh, this these options right here, right? These four. This is how your car is going to be reacting to the road. It's like how fast it compresses and then how fast it decompresses. Usually for a heavier car, you would run higher, but for comps, you would want to run it like semi-low, semi-high, especially for the course that, or for the track rather, I should say, that we're going to be running. It doesn't really have that many bumps, so you can get away with running like really, really soft setup for at least for this in particular. Like you can get away with that. So you can run like 88 here in the front, and then you can run like anywhere from, I'd say anywhere from 1,500 all the way to like the 3,000s, like 3,500 being the highest I would be willing to go with this. But I'm gonna go with where it was at. Well, just a little bit lower than that. I would go with 2,000. Now, for the fast rebound, I would set it at a nice 9,750, right? 9,750 here. And then I would put the rears here at like a nice 4,000 flat, so there's like a 2,000 difference between the two. Now, for the regular damper bumps and damper rebounds, this is based off of how the car reacts to you, like your throttle inputs and your braking inputs, right? So you can get away with running a lot lower for this if you want a little bit more squat on like every time you get on the throttle. This will assist you in the squat a little bit. Ignore the other values here. This is from an old tune. I'm just completely retuning this car just for this video and like this video specifically because I've been like tuning cars back and forth for this comp in preparation just so I have multiple cars before I do enter this competition. So, anyways, that's a completely different topic. I'm very 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 into this when it comes to tuning, especially when it comes to comps. So yeah. So where was I? Yeah. So this is basically how your car reacts to your inputs. These values here is how the car will react to the road specifically. So you'd run this. You can run this lower than the actual fast bumps. You can run this slightly lower, but if you feel like the car is um, like a little bit too soft on the front, you will then have to stiffen the front damper bump. If the car is too soft when you get on throttle, which is which is like I have to specify this. It is an actual good thing, especially if you're building up a comp car, like you're tuning a comp car. At least in my personal opinion, it's a lot better because that will provide squat, and squat will provide grip, and grip will provide speed. Um, so you can get away with running lower values here in the rear. But for the front, you don't want it to like how do I explain this? You don't want it to hunch over, if that makes sense. You don't want it to like lean itself forward. So you can get away with running stiffer front for these values here, and then you can bring these values down, down to like 3450, right? Now for the toes, what I don't really have like a uh good explanation to as why I run what I run. This just comes down to preference. I've always ran anywhere from negative zero point .3 to negative zero point .4 being like my comfort spot for the front toe. So I'm just going to keep this where it's at. For the rear toe, I'm going to change this real quick actually because it kind of bothering me that it's at almost positive 2 camber on the rear. Um, for the rear toe, it's anywhere from 0.5 to 0.7. I run really aggressive rear toe. And for this car, just as a baseline, I'm going to run a 0.6. And I'm actually going to lower the rear end just for fitment's sake. As you can already see, like you can see how the car reacts just by me changing the springs. Like you can see how it kind of bounces. That's a good thing. That you kind of want your car to react that way on for pretty much anything really. You kind of want your car to behave that way, especially when it comes to like a comp setup. And for the camber, this like anywhere from I want to say 0.65 to maybe zero point 0.7 to like a zero point 0.8, zero point 0.9. No, zero point 0.8 is probably more accurate, like 0.85 maybe, will almost always guarantee you near neutral camber. And that being said, having neutral camber will allow you to have more tire contact, specifically rear tire contact, and that will provide you um, the most grip possible. Realistically speaking, if we're talking about one to one, like to real life, that will provide you the most grip. But as you can see, like it pokes slightly out, like you can see tilt slightly out, and you know that's kind of what you want to do. So like I said, this is a heavier car. If it was a lighter car, for roll bars specifically here, which is the next sliders that we're going to be working on, you normally for a lighter car, I personally go for 65 on the front, but since this is uh, a heavier car, I run 75, and then the rears I would run higher than the fronts. Surprising, actually. I would run it like this, like about a 20 difference, just so I can stiffen up the rears a little bit. For the caster, it is preference, but I run a 9.2 Ackerman. That is also preference, but if you feel like you are spinning out, obviously you can turn this down to like 80, 75, 60. Coincidentally, I went to 60 and it hit 69. Ha, nice. Um, but yeah, you can turn it down to whatever you're comfortable with, but I've been drifting on 100% Ackerman for quite a while now, and it's very comfort like it's just a comfort spot for me. I like to have like full control of the car that I'm driving. Um, Kingpin is pretty much changing your caster without changing your caster, right? So as you can see, the chase tire changes angle when it's at full lock. Front tire changes at full lock. The caster here, as you can see, if I change it to 0, it zeroes out. So going 9.2 here, and then I'll do 8 degrees. Sometimes I'll even not touch this. Um, so yeah, steering axis offset, I've always put it as 0 because I will be honest with you, I have never seen a change with this car, or with any car, running it at the base value of 10 or running it at 20. So I've always just run it at 0, and it's just worked fine. Every car now, since the new updates, if you guys have been playing this game, you guys know every single car now in this game has 65 degrees of mech steering. So just throw this on 65 and you should be fine. But yeah, as I said, for the rules of this comp that this car is specifically going to be tuned for, you need to run 19s, 245s on 90s, and then 35% tire profile. That's about it. Now, for tire pressure, like realistically speaking, you would run a lower tire pressure so your car would flick more, right? But you don't really want that. You kind of want to run in the 150 kPa to the 160 range. You kind of want it to have some slip so you can just kind of somewhat ease into a corner, but you also still have that transitioning speed because depending on the corner, you will be brake transitioning, right? So for the rear tire pressure, it doesn't matter what car it is, you always want to run the 70. You always want the most grip as possible. Yeah, you can get style and stuff like that, but it's a comp. Let's be honest. You're there for the speed. I can drop this more. I can drop this even more, actually. I need to change my camber again a little bit. There you go, 0.75. Front wheel track, 12, 0. There you go, that's fine where it's at. Like I said, for the engine, for this, you kind of want to look at your graph. Graph can tell you a lot here. I can run more torque, but that means I'll have to turn this down to get to the power that I want. But this this car is perfectly fine where it's at. The torque and the power curve, they're fairly close. I mean, you kind of want them to be at an even level, but for this car, this will be fine for what's going to be doing. Clutch based. So this, like I said, this is an old tune that I used to run. We're going to change this to the value of 100 Newton meters on preload. Obviously, clutch based and stuff like that. I'll quickly explain that. Obviously, open diff is literally just open. Spool is more of an open diff than this. This acts more like an open diff. Viscous limited slip differential, excuse me, is a differential that was way before this update or the update that introduced these other differential types. This was the old diff where you could just choose your diff locking ratio and then just set it as you wanted. Which if you prefer to run this, then run 85 Newton meters. So you can run this at 85 and then that'll be the most ideal. It'll require you to throttle control a little bit more, but hey, I mean you are kind of in a comp. You will need to throttle control for some corners, especially in chase as well. But getting onto the other diff here, clutch-based limited slip differential. So this is an LSD, so a limited slip differential, but how this differential works, there is as as obvious as it sounds, there's gears within the diff that will preload every single gear almost. It's weird how it works, but it like with how it works, you can almost like treat it as like a burst of speed. So for example, you downshift entering a corner, and as you get out of it, you upshift, and then you gain like almost a burst of speed, right? And that kind of allows you to gain more wheel speed, not wheel spin, but wheel speed. With how this car is going to be set up, you're going to be getting wheel speed, not wheel spin. You'll get actual genuine wheel speed that would allow you to catch up to people a lot easier. And with these values here, this will just help you out with that. And this just like it just kind of says that differential preload level setting. Like it's just the amount of newton meters that will be sent into that, and then you gain that much. It's very straightforward once you understand it. I'm not going to touch the gearing yet, by the way. So I'm going to be touching on this here in a sec because I want to figure out how the gears work. Excuse me, for the car. So for the brake torque, since this is a slightly heavier car, we're going to run 2000 with anywhere from 80% to 84%, but this is my preference. But this is what I would recommend. Run anywhere from 80 to 84. So run 80% with ABS on, and then we'll go ahead and do a quick test drive of how the tune works, see how it is, and I'll see how the gears are. If I immediately see it's banging the limiter in fourth, because I kind of want to build this as or tune the gearing for fourth gear, fourth and fifth, but mainly for fourth. then I'm immediately just gonna go back and I'm immediately gonna fix the gear. So let's see. This is gonna be the track, by the way, that we are gonna be running for the comp. We're gonna be running this comp here, or this comp. Um, what's it called? This track. There you go. Having a stroke. Yeah. So you can see here it revs nicely, surprisingly. So I'm gonna launch it in second. Launch third. Go into fourth. And then we're just gonna throttle control it a little bit. Transition, get off throttle. Get in third here. Upshift, get on brake a little bit. Clutch. Hit the wall because I'm a terrible driver. But the tune seems to work fine as it is. But we're gonna change the gearing a little bit here. So we're gonna go back here. We're gonna keep the final drive where it's at. We're gonna turn down the gear 3 value to 1.35. And then we are gonna turn this value down to a 1.17, this to a 1.8, and then we are gonna turn this value down to a 99. So the reason why I went with 135 here, and then 117, 108, and 99 is because you want to take half of everything. Gear 1 and 2 doesn't really matter, but you want to keep these within half of each other. So like if this was 0.4, this would be 0.2. If I can get 0.2 here. 0.2, 0.1, and then 1 flat here. This is what I mean by you want to run the half of everything. But we're gonna try 135 here. We're gonna do 117, 108, and then 99. Apologies. We're gonna see how this works, and if this works as it is, the tune is pretty much done. And as soon as it's done, I'm gonna publish this tune. I did an early upshift. That's fine though. Stay on throttle here still. Suspension feels fine where it's at. Little wall tap, that's fine. Downshift into that corner, then upshift again. Throttle control a little bit. Touch the wall, that's fine. Let's do another run here, just so you guys can see. See if I can get a proper run here. Kind of want to find the right launching point for this car as well, so it'd be like right there. Upshift, and then upshift into corner, right into initiation, hit the wall because I'm a terrible driver. Come into here, hit this inside, hit this outer, downshift a little bit. Upshift into this corner, throttle control it a little bit, and then just stay on it. Throttle control a little bit, get as close as I can, and there you go. That's pretty much the line for this as well, guys, and this is pretty much the tune done. There is more I can do to this, but for a really quick tune that I just quickly decided to throw together, this is pretty much as good as it's going to get for this car, especially for the amount of the amount of horsepower it actually has. This is quite a lot, especially for like a street comp. But I can get away with doing let's see if I can get the number there, 0.7. Let's just give this a quick try here, see how this actually feels. And if this feels nice, then I will actually ship it as it is. So launch it here, get into third, shift into fourth, and then stay in it. Actually, I can get away with probably going to 5th. Yeah. I'll probably have better luck in 4th, actually. I'll go to brake, downshift into 3rd. And then spin out because I actually did a terrible line there. Actually, that might have been the toe. See, now I'm kind of thinking about it. Do 0.6 again. I just test that out. Let's just quickly just run it as it is. I'm not even going to do the actual line, like the comp line. I'm just going to run it here. So it has a tendency to over-rotate. Okay. I mean, as you can see, like, it holds angle just fine. 0.6 toe in the rear seems to do fine. But yeah, the tune is pretty much done as it is. And then, yeah, I'm just going to back out here. I will publish the tune here on the video so you guys can see that it goes live. I will even stay on this screen where you guys can see the code. If you don't get to see the code during the video, I will be sure to leave it down in the description. We go to garage, dyno stand, save a custom modification. We shall type in a name. Let's see, Street Series E92. I can't fit that in there. Okay, we'll make it funny. Series E92. There you go. Strat Series E92. There you go. W spelling. Alright. We shall go into, I think it's like this, modification workshop. Go to my published, no. Custom, publish. Okay. There you go. It's published. And there you go, guys. The publication code for the tune is 557-129-797-000. That's pretty much it, guys. If you do enjoyed this specific video, be sure to leave a like, leave a comment, let me know if this helped, if this didn't. Feel free to let me know in NTNS's Discord as well. I'll be more than willing to help. And yeah, hope to catch you guys during the comp. Peace.